Okay, welcome, Andy. Welcome to the podcast, mate. How are you today?
Yeah, good. Thanks very much. How are you?
Yeah,
Good. Thanks, mate. Good to have you on, Andy.
Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. Let's start off then. You're a cycling coach. Tell us a bit more.
Yeah, so I run a business called Cycle Strength. It's personal training. It's just me. I'm a personal trainer, and I work specifically with over 40 years old men and women who are looking for achieving something on their bikes, and that's kind of the big deal. I talk to a lot of people who are just like, oh, I want to lose some weight, or I want to get faster. But the big question is going to be why? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to get faster? And that's what we really need. We need a goal, and I think this will mesh really nicely with what you guys are doing here. Is you need that reason to train, to get out on the bike, to make it real. You're not just going out just to ride the bike or to lose weight, because that very quickly it gets pointless. And if you're always looking for weight loss, perhaps you can lose sight of the bigger picture. So I always encourage, set yourself a goal. With cycling, it's easy. There's 1,000,001 events to do. The best thing I've found to talk people about is join an event, a sportive, or even if you like a local club ride or something. If it's in 6 months' time and it's something you've never been able to do before, you'll always be able to find something in the cycling world that you can set your sights on. 6 months' time, even a year's time. Get out and then train towards that event. And that's how you keep on top of the progress. You tell everyone you're going to achieve it. You got to say to people, I'm going to go and do this. And they're going to go, no, you can't do that. And that's the best feeling in the world, because then when you do it in 6 months' time, in a year's time, even in 2 years' time, when you achieve that goal, that's the best feeling in the world. And then you just set yourself new ones, and you just keep going from goal to goal to goal. And you're always getting better. You're going to be losing weight the whole time as well.
Fantastic.
Losing weight kind of takes the back seat over the achievement that you're getting from the sport.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is it you love most about cycling, then, mate? Why cycling? Why cycling your sport?
I always cycled. I started off playing rugby at school, and I was big into rugby. And it was the team thing, and it was the sort of the physical element of it, but also the team, the camaraderie. But then I went to university and I got smashed to pieces, and I had a first training session. I came away with a black eye, and I was thinking, oh, these guys are huge.
Yeah, I had that experience as well at university. I didn't last long in the rugby team.
Yeah, no, I did 1 season, played for the seconds, and then it was a lot of work. So I went for something that I could do on my own, and cycling's great for that, because you can set your own kind of things. It can be very solitary, so you can do your training on your own. You don't have to fit with a team, And I know you guys play football, so you want to go to football training. Football training is 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night. That's when it is. But I can't make that time, so I can't play football. I go cycling. I want to get up at 6:30 on a Sunday morning and go for a 2-hour ride on my own. Perfect. I'm going to be half an hour late. No one's waiting for me, It's only Mrs. at home who's waiting for me to get back so I can give the kids a lift to wherever they're going on a Sunday morning. So it works. It works for that. But then, of course, you've got cycle clubs. So if you want the camaraderie, if you want to join a group, you can do that. And there's online groups, there's in-person clubs. There's 1,000,001. I live in London, and just around me, I could probably join about 5 or 6 clubs that I could get to within 10 minutes at home on the bike. Clubs tend, if they're well-organized clubs, they tend to have different rides for different abilities on the bike. So you'll have the starter group. So if you're new to it, you can join the club and join the ride that only goes for maybe 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers on a Sunday morning. Or if you're bang at it and you've been cycling for a while and you can keep up, you can join the sort of expert group of the same club that go 120 kilometers in the same kind of time. so they're going 4 times as fast. It's like that. You can join the group, you can have the camaraderie, or you can just do it entirely on your own. But the most important thing is to set yourself goals. You've got to set your goals. Otherwise, you're just out cycling for nothing. And then it gets difficult. It gets difficult to motivate yourself if you're not training towards something.
So when you were playing rugby, obviously you were part of a team, and then to go out cycling on your own, did that come with challenges, would you think?
Yeah, well, yes and no. It started off, I was a young man, so I started mountain biking, and I just sort of started playing around on a mountain bike. I very quickly found a group of like under 30s who met up. I lived in Epping. I lived in Chingford and went cycling in Epping Forest at the time. I very quickly found, just online, near where I lived, a group that met up near Chingford train station to cycle in Epping Forest on a Sunday. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday. And that suited me fine at the time. No kids, nothing else going on a Sunday. So I always knew how to ride a bike. It wasn't like I had to learn how to ride a bike, but I had to get some off-road skills and then join the group, and then learned a lot from them, learn routes. And riding with a group is different to riding on your own. But yeah, like I said, I joined a group pretty early on, and I stayed with them for the whole time I lived in that part of London. Then I moved south, and I found another group within a couple of years of moving. I found another group to ride with in the south of London. I've always done. So it still had the same kind of, for me, the same kind of drive to join a group, and you always want to be like not getting us behind, if you know what I mean. So if you go out with a group and you're getting left behind, gives you a bit more impetus to train, get you off the bike training done during the week, go out with the group, ride stronger and stronger every week, keep up better.
What's it like in London then, mate? Because we live in, rural Cambridgeshire here. So if I leave my village, I'm out on beautiful countryside. London.
I do the same. I do the same thing. So I live right on the edge of London. So if I'm riding one direction, I can get into the centre of London it's about 15 miles to the centre of London, not even 12 miles, like literally to Tower Bridge. If I go the other way, 2 miles from home, I'm out in the countryside.
Nice.
It's perfect. So I've got the best of both,
That's one of the things that's kind of always appealed to me with cycling, is that, I assume, because I've never done proper cycling before, but I assume you're out in the countryside, you sort of raise your head and you think this is the best way to spend my Sunday morning, like especially on a nice, not too hot but not too cold, nice spring day, something like that.
Yeah, it's the best thing. And yeah, getting up early, that's what I really love about it. It's setting an alarm. It's going to be at the weekend, isn't it? When you get up early, everyone else in the house is asleep, put the kit on, grab the bike out of the garage and get going before there's any traffic on the roads. You can get out into the countryside when the sun's still low, and you can, watch the sun come up, get over a couple of hills and just enjoy that, that the atmosphere, and going at your own pace, getting some fresh air, and then get home and everyone's up and ready for breakfast, but I've just done a 2-hour ride, I've done my training for the day, and here we go. Back with the family. No one's missed me.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. So as part of your coaching, mate, so if you had people like me and Mark, so, me and Mark, a little bit overweight, not at the prime of fitness. We're both 40 now, so we're well within the sort of people that you work with. If someone like me, certainly never done cycling before, what's the first bit of advice that you'd give me then? If I said to you, right, I want to do 100-kilometer bike ride, and I want to give myself a year. I don't know if that's realistic, but a year to train up to get there. But where would you start?
That is very realistic. If you're starting from scratch and give yourself a year to train, if you focus, you've got to have a bit of focus. I'm not going to say you can just walk it, but have a bit of focus with the training. You can easily do 100 kilometers. So where to start? You've got to figure out when you're going to get the training done, when you're going to get the riding done, and super important, something that lots of people miss. Pretty much everyone who starts cycling, they forget, and especially as we're older guys now, we're we're past the sort of 20 somethings where nothing matters. You don't barely even have to warm up or anything like that. When you get into your 40s, you need to get some off the bike training as well. So what I would suggest for anyone is, yes, set your goal. That's the first thing to do. Set your goal. So you've done that. You want to do 100 kilometers next year. The next thing to do is to have a look at your calendar and work out when you're going to get the rides in and slowly increase them. So you start off with a really comfortable ride. When you can do it at the weekend, probably just get out for an hour, spin the wheels, nice and gentle. That slow progress from doing an hour, then maybe an hour and 10 minutes, hour and a half, just slowly building up. What you don't want to do is go straight in, try and ride 60 kilometers your first ride, because you will fucking hate it. You'll get halfway around, you'll be as far from home as possible and feel exhausted and not be able to get home. And then you'll never want to get on the bike again, because you'll be like, this is horrible. So you got to start super, like achievable, like really achievable. Start off light and then build up very, very gently and slowly. That's the worst thing to do, is set yourself too big a jump, not be able to achieve it, and then you have that feeling of just, I'm never going to do it. So your riding time needs to increase gently, incrementally. You want to get it to 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the distance of your goal. So if you're going to ride 100 kilometers, you want to be able to ride, say, 70 kilometers on your own, like get out of the weekend. By the time, a couple of weeks before, probably, your big ride, get yourself up to being able to comfortably do 70, 75 kilometers. Really, really important. It's the strength training, the off the bike training.
That involve?
So that you want to get in the gym, or you can train at home. There's 1,000,001 different ways of training off the bike, but this is my area of specialty, is to get the guys and the girls to look at the time they've got, set yourself a couple of half-hour sessions, even just half-hour sessions, either at home or in the gym, using the equipment that's available to you. Again, you've got to build up slow. If you're not used to being in the gym, you can't just go in and think, well, I'm going to do like a maximum deadlift, because your back's just going to fall apart. And probably never going to go in the gym again, because you're going to get injured and hate it. So you've got to build up slow. Start with body weight exercises. If you can do 15 squats, 15 body weight squats. I use a system that I call the Core 6. And it's 6 moves, 6 ways of moving your body that cover all aspects. So really, a workout only needs these 6 moves. So you've got a push, upper body, push, so it can be out or up or anywhere in between. A pull, so a row or a pull down. That's 2. Squat, so you can do that body weight. So sink your bum down, press up. Everyone knows what a squat is, right? A hinge. This is slightly trickier because it's hinging at the waist, so it's a deadlift kind of move. So you're using your glutes, your back, your hamstrings to go from being bent in the middle to standing up straight. And then the 2 that are really important that often get missed is static hold. So that'll be like a plank. Is a really traditional one, where you're just using your core muscles to hold rigidity and twist. So turning your hips and your shoulders in opposite directions. So twist. And I'm doing it. I mean, that's as good an exercise as any, just sitting in a chair and twisting. You need to work on those 6 moves, right? And this is how I build my workouts for my clients with the equipment they've got and the time they've got. And really it's entirely personal to every individual as to what they can achieve, when they can do it, how quickly they can progress. And we can get on to doing maximum deadlifts if you want, but let's start with just doing some
basics,
more body weight stuff. Make sure everything's working. Build on the flexibility first, stability in the core to protect your spine, because that's the worst thing, is going too heavy too soon and injuring yourself. Then you're out for a month recovering from that. Everything goes backwards. You come back, then scared you're going to injure yourself again, so you never really get back into it, and your goals have kind of gone to pot a little bit because you went too much too soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how long should people be taking on sort of these sort of workouts?
So on any one workout, one workout, I'd always say like half an hour is going to be enough. For the work. You've got to get a warm up and a cool down as well, which can be 5 minutes each side, so 40 minutes for an off the bike workout. And you can do you can get out on your bike for just half an hour, and a really good start. So yeah, if you're doing half an hour of off the bike training twice a week, half an hour even once a week during the week, perfect. So that's an hour and a half during the week, and then get out and just have fun. Go and enjoy a nice ride at the weekend. And that's a great system right there. That's the start of a really good system, and it's super achievable. And everyone's got an extra 90 minutes a week, right? If you tell me you haven't got 90 minutes a week to fit into your schedule, you could do 4 15-minute workouts,
Yeah. Well, that's one of my questions was exactly. And it was just like, how do you fit it into a busy lifestyle? But when you say it like that, 4 15 minutes, that's fuck all. Anyone can do that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't watch Well, actually, no, do it while watching EastEnders.
Yeah, why not?
You can have the TV on in the background if you're doing it at home. Get into the gym. I'd always recommend, like, join a gym, because getting it away from home, this is like it's personal to everyone. Some people like working out at home because they can have, a couple of bits of kit, and they can just, I've got half an hour now, quick, let's get it done at home. I really like leaving one area and going to the gym where I can solely focus on training.
Absolutely. And if you've got a busy lifestyle and you've got kids and that, you can see yourself midway through it, and then your kid comes through and
yeah, exactly. The phone goes or something pings. Oh, I've got an email I've got to check. You go to the gym, you put everything to one side, and I'm here to train. Like, I'm in that headspace. Everything else just has to take a back seat and wait until I'm done. That's how I prefer it. But everyone's different, a lot of people have like home gym in the garage or something. A lot of my clients will be like, well, I've got these bits of kit in the garage. Perfect. They kind of set themselves up a gym, a separate area that has the same effect as getting out of the house and going to the gym. They just,
it's creating that separate space away from it, isn't it?
Yeah, that really helps. I think.
Definitely.
And I suppose it's the same when you're on your bike. Once you're out, all right, you could still get the occasional ping. I'm assuming you might have headphones and stuff like that in, but you're away from everything, aren't you? You're away from the family life, the commitments, and you're out in the open.
Yeah, exactly. And you get some really good thinking done. And if you go on a bike ride on your own like that, I said like that 6:30 in the morning for a couple of hours. I mean, what else are you doing? You're riding along. You might be looking at what time have I done over this section and all that kind of stuff, and is my cadence right and all this kind of thing. But really, you're just in your own headspace, and you're free to think about what you've got to think about. And quite often, I'll get home and I'll have had a brainwave while I'm out. I'm like, right, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. I start the day like super motivated.
How do you go about it then? So if you're starting out, how do you go about finding good cycling routes and stuff like that? What is it you do?
So there's a few ways of doing it. I mean, there's loads of apps. Strava's the biggest app, but I mean, it's not just for cyclists. I think it started as a cyclist thing like years and years ago, but now everyone's on Strava. People who play football. I've got a mate who plays football, and he puts his
makes your own heat map out,
90 minutes on Strava, and it's just a football pitch with like a load of orange. But yeah, Strava's a good one. So you can join groups on Strava. If you got your profile, go into it, you can find groups, and you can find local clubs and groups and see where they've ridden. Strava puts segments in, so you can find segments in the map, and they'll be like highlighted. It's like a heat thing. So if a segment is really well ridden, a bit of road or a bit of trail, if it's off road, if it's ridden by a lot of people, it comes up like a big thick line. If it's not ridden by anyone, then you can barely see it on the map, if you know what I mean. Just like that kind of a heat chart of where people ride. You can make your own, you know. Google Maps is great. If you want to go, I want to go from here to here and back, you plan it on Google Maps, and there's a little cycle icon. You set your start, set your end, press the cycle thing, and it'll draw you a map. So that works really well for getting started. Joining a group, joining a club, riding with a club with people who've been cycling in your area for years. It's the best thing, because then you don't have to plan your own routes. And I love it, because I'll go out with a club and they'll be like, oh, right, we're going to this cafe stop. There's always a cafe stop with the club. We're going to this cafe stop. I'll be like, oh, I've never heard of that one, so let's do it. And it will be somewhere I've never been. There'll be roads I've never ridden on. The cafe will be somewhere it will be on top of a hill with a beautiful view. And I'll be like, how have I never found this place before? And they're like, oh yeah, we only come here once a year. You're like, so lucky I made it on that particular ride, you know. So riding with a group is great for that. You get shown. You basically just you just follow the person in front and they'll take you round. It works perfectly.
And so my wife does like triathlons and stuff, mate. So cycling's obviously a huge part of what she does, and she loves cycling. She said what you said, that she was surprised how quickly she improved it. But she really enjoyed it. And our local cycling group as well have been hugely supportive, and that kind of leads me on to my next question: is how supportive are these groups to people just starting out in your sport? Are they understanding when you've got like big hills near you and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've never heard a bad word about a cycling group. So they all have a starter phase, because everyone has started at some point. Like, everyone's had a very first ride with a club. So there's no one in that club who can say, oh, I was born into this club, and everyone's had their first ride, so everyone knows what it's like. The trick is to not turn up balls out and go, right, I'm gonna smash it. It ain't a fucking race, because you're gonna get left behind. You're gonna be crying by the end of it. Turn up. You got to just turn up and be like, I would just like a ride. Show me round. Start with the easiest group. Like, there's usually 3. I think the club I ride with, like 5 different groups that go out. The top one being guys who race nationally. The sort of entry group will be what I said, be first timers, people turning up who've never ridden with a group before, might have only done a couple of road rides before. So they're just super supportive, and that's what they want. Because if the club doesn't have people turning up for the first time, the club's gone. It dies away,
Of course.
So they're really welcoming. I'd be surprised if anyone found a club that said, no, we don't want any new riders. Because very, very soon that club just disappeared.
Yeah. So what kind of challenges does beginner cyclists face, would you say?
That's a big open question, isn't it? So the big one is the money, spending money on kit. And yes, you can buy a bike in Halfords for like 40 quid or something. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be pretty horrible to ride. You do have to fork out for a bike in the first place. Having said that, you can get some really good, if you go on like Decathlon, you can get some really good bikes at not so much money, but we're talking in like a good hundreds, £1,000 is about the right kind of entry level for your first bike. So there is that outlay, yeah. And then with that, you got to have decent kit. You've got to be wearing shorts with pads, like padded shorts. Yeah, because your ass is.
Oh, you are. I've done it myself when I've been out, and first time I went out on a road bike, didn't wear padded shorts, and yeah, my ass hurt for weeks.
Yeah. And again, that's something. The first time you ride, you're going to be like, this saddle's cutting me in half.
Yeah.
You get used to it. You've got to just build up a tolerance to it. And that's why you can't, like, first ride, I'm going to go and ride 60 kilometers. The second you put your ass on the saddle, you're going to think, ooh, you've got to build up to it, even if you start with 10 minutes and get used to the bike, and it is absolute beginners. I'd say that's the biggest challenge is sitting on a bike for longer than 10, 15 minutes, building up to that. You've got to get your body used to it. But then don't forget about warming up and cooling down before and after you ride as well. God, so many cyclists will just get the bike out of the garage, jump on it, ride off, get home, have something to eat, have a shower, whatever, and they don't stretch, nothing like that. And that is just, when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, you are asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Because you just get tighter. You get tight. And you won't notice it to start with, but the posture on a bike is quite unnatural. You're the sort of leaning forwards. Quite often people hunch their shoulders. You've got to stretch all of that out. And that's something that I really focus on with my clients, is making sure that the upper body strength is there, but also the flexibility, and knowing how to you got to do a dynamic warm up first. And that's just a load of swinging, just, getting all the joints moving first, especially like 6:30 in the morning, you're straight out of bed. If you jump on a bike and try and ride, it's asking for trouble. It might not happen straight away, but down the line, you're going to start to get stiff, and something will pull that could have been avoided with just a good dynamic warm up first, and then stretching out, static stretches afterwards. So that static stretches are the sort of traditional ones where you put your foot up on a bench and stretch your hamstring for 15 seconds. So dynamic stretches is everything moving. Just keep moving. You don't hold it. You just keep moving. Push the range of motion. Do some side steps, some lunges, just some body weight squats, that kind of thing, before you jump on the bike. And it only has to take a couple of minutes, but it makes massive difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't forget to do that. Even if you're in a rush, it's worth it. But yeah, I think the biggest hurdle in brand new people thinking, I fancy taking up cycling, is the outlay of money for the bike in the first place.
Okay. So let's put a scenario out. You get up Sunday morning, the weather's shit, it's cold, it's raining, it's miserable. What strategies have you got to stay motivated and keep going?
So this is where having a group ride comes in massively, because if I'm getting up and I'm thinking I'm going out on my own, I look out the window and it's like still dark, the wind's howling, probably going to go and leave it 10 minutes, see if the weather improves. And then before you know it, like it's gone, and it's horrible. That's why committing to a ride with a club really helps, because you tell people, I'll tell people on like Wednesday, I'll meet you on Saturday morning for a ride. I've made that commitment. I'm not going to miss that then, even if the weather's shit. Then the weather's shit.
Accountability, isn't it?
For everyone. And you're all there together going, the weather's shit. Yeah, so let's do a different ride. Let's go somewhere else. We'll spend a little bit longer in the cafe and have 2 cups of coffee instead, just to warm up. It makes a big difference. And finding that camaraderie with a club, I think is through the winter months especially, is essential. Summer, no problem. Well, I say that, but summer's been shocking this year. I think it's rained. Today's a great day because it's sunny, but it's like 6 degrees outside, which is great for cycling. It's dry at least. But when it's pouring with rain, like it has been all summer, it is hard. And that is kind of where having a bit of camaraderie and someone to like commit to I'm going to meet you somewhere, and then go. It doesn't have to be a club. It could just be a mate. If it's just 2 mates, like you 2 guys, why don't you just both get bikes and say, let's meet up on a Sunday morning? You're shaking your head.
The image of Mark in Lycra, it horrifies me, Andrew. Yeah. No, we should. Maybe that's.
Yeah. Start with a 45-minute ride. It could be on like a Wednesday afternoon or something. Start your own.
I did have a phase of doing quite a lot of cycling, probably about 10 years ago, and maybe I was cheating because it was nice and flat where I lived. I lived in the Fens, and I could just cycle, do a 40k cycle ride quite comfortably.
Flat as hell, but windy. I've cycled there like loads of times. It's going to be you're going to do a circle, right? So you'll be on your way out. You think, I'm flying. I'm doing
that was exactly it.
An hour, and then you come back, and it's like,
No, it's so true. But no, I did really get into it, and there's a lot of things that you said. I never was part of a club or anything. I did see the odd club go round, and I'd be sort of like struggling along, and then I'd see like a group of like 15 guys just come flying past me. I thought, yeah, maybe that's what I need to get to. But yeah, for me personally, I've always enjoyed cycling, and I think that the mental health benefits are good. Like I said, you've had a shitty day at work. I'd come home from work and just get out, especially in the summer months, and it's a great way to clear your head, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. it's one of those things. I find it has a similar effect to like reading a book, or if you play a musical instrument, if you like, because you kind of have to really focus on it. So if you go out for a ride, you're focused on the ride, but you have that little bit of headspace to just sort of mull stuff over if you need to, and like the blood, oxygenized blood getting into your brain seems to just blow away the cobwebs. And then there's a sense of achievement afterwards as well, which is massive for mental health. That sense of achievement of getting back and thinking, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah,
on that. I've done.
That was the thing. Sometimes I'd like not want to go out. I thought the weather's a bit shitty here, but no, come on, let's just do it anyway. And
you never regret it. You never. That's something I always tell myself.
I really enjoyed that. I feel 10 times better for it. But then sometimes I still struggle to motivate myself the next day, which is bizarre. But yeah, once you're out and you've done it, you feel so much better for it.
Yeah. I've done some horrendous weather rides, like mountain biking. I've met up in Surrey with this was a few years back now, but a group of mates. They all ride e-bikes now, and they've all ballooned. But the group in Surrey drive, like I'd have like a 45-minute drive to meet at the car park in the Surrey Hills with my mountain bike on the back of the car. Get there, and it is howling, like proper, like big raindrops, like one of them hits you and it could take you off your bike. It was like proper pouring down, and we there's like 5 of us standing in the car park thinking, are we going to ride in this? And just go, yes, come on, let's do it. 2 hours later, I mean, you're soaked in a second, so you're not going to get any wetter. You might as well go and enjoy it. 2 hours later, you get back to the car, and it's the best ride of your life. You had a great time. It's just pushing through that first hurdle of being like, oh, it looks awful out there. You never regret it when you get back. You're never going to regret it.
I think that's the same for every kind of weight loss attempt as well. It was like sometimes it's just hard to sort of get going on your weight loss journey, but once you're doing it, you like feel so much better for it.
Yeah.
Just wondering, have you got sort of any examples of sort of clients you've worked with that have lost sort of considerable amount of weight adopting cycling?
So I mean, I said a lot of my clients are all my clients are cycling for a goal. I'd have to look.
Do a lot of your clients already in quite good shape, Andy? Are they already sort of a little?
It's a mixture. It's a combination. So I've got a client who's just in the last couple of weeks, he's won championships, like British cycling championships in marathon, mountain biking and gravel biking. 2 weeks on the bounce, 2 events, and he's won them. So he's got the British champion jersey. That's one extreme. I've got a female client who really struggles for time with work and kids and everything like that. And it's like trying to encourage her to fit in the training, talk to me about like what the barriers are for her, so I can build the training plan much more to make it more accommodating for her time and get it to work perfectly. So she then isn't thinking, oh, I've only got half an hour, but the training is going to take me an hour. No, let's make it, you've only got half an hour, so let's make the training take half an hour. So it really is a massive range of people that I work with. I've got a client who's 62, a 62-year-old gent who has lost a phenomenal amount of weight. The exact figure, don't know, but he's like super excited. He's been with me for only 3 months. One of those people who rode a lot when they were younger, get into having kids and work gets in the way, so kind of stops riding. And then the kids grow up, they move out, and suddenly he's like, oh, I've got loads of time now. So he plays golf and he rides his bike. So I've been working with him to get him super fit on the bike. He's got a lot of time because he's retired now, but he is absolutely flying, and the weight has fallen off of him. So it's a right range. Cycling works for anyone. You've just got to, like, I can't stress enough, you've just got to set a goal for yourself. So just going, I'm going to go out, ride my bike to lose weight, is unlikely to encourage you to do that. Whereas if you book a ride, set a goal, tell everyone you're going to achieve it, then you have to achieve it. You have to start training, and it's training for riding a bike. It's not really training for weight loss. The loss of fat will happen if you up your training and you get your diet right. The weight will just start coming off. You don't even have to try. If you're riding your bike and you're training hard, then it just falls away, and you become that cyclist.
Yeah. And this is what me and Mark are firm believers of this, that if you do what you enjoy, and it's good, cycling, football, rugby, whatever it's going to be, you know it's good for you, right? You know it's going to burn calories. You know it's going to have a positive impact on your mental health and your physical health.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask, mate, just a few questions. So do you have like a post and pre-work or pre and post workout sort of eating meal or something, a favorite meal, or do you focus on any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a dietitian, so I can't say you have to eat this and give people a diet plan. But I can definitely give advice. So before riding, you want to get some carbs on, but you don't want to do it you don't want to eat like a load of porridge and then go straight out on your bike, because it all sits really heavy and it tends to cause a bit of cramps or something in your legs. You got to think about eating early. If you're going to be going out at 6 a.m, it's difficult. Get up, have something light. So like just a bit of toast with peanut butter on it, just something. You got to make sure that you have some carbs the night before. And I know a lot of like weight loss diets and stuff, people think carbs are all dangerous. It's not. And like fat's dangerous. It's not. It's just getting the proportions of it right. You need carbs. If you're not eating carbs, then you're not getting the right kind of energy to fuel the sport that you're doing, whatever sport it is. So before a ride, you got to take on some carbs, and if it's the night before, then have some pasta and something easy to digest. Like, don't have a takeaway curry, because that's full of oils and stuff, and it's really hard to digest. It'd be like jet powered along on the bike. During a ride is important to eat. If you're out for an hour, you're okay, and you don't tend not to have to eat anything. If you're out for like an hour and a half, I would absolutely recommend have like jelly babies, something sugary, because you'll find that your blood sugar drops. You've only got so many instant access carbs floating around your body that you can use, and the general rule of thumb is about an hour. You'll be fine. After an hour, you've got to start eating like every half an hour.
Yeah, my local farm shop do like a cracking cake, and it is quite far out, and it's clearly on a very popular cycle route, because every time I go there, it's full of cyclists going in for a slice of cake, and that's no doubt why they're probably on a 3-4 hour cycle ride. And
right. Yeah, exactly.
Look, if you want to eat a nice bit of cake, you got to earn it with a nice long cycle ride.
Great excuse to go to a cafe and eat cake is to cycle there. If you've got a few miles, if it's like a 45-minute ride to get there, 45-minute home, it's an hour and a half, have a bit of cake. You've earned it. After a ride, this is like one of the most essential things that people often overlook as well, is eating protein. You've got to get protein on board within an hour, really. So have like a proteiny snack. Peanut butter's that's my go-to. I know a lot of people are allergic to nuts and that sort of thing, but peanut butter is 100% easy access. Spread it on a rice cake, shove it in your gob. Perfect.
Yeah, I love a bit of peanut butter myself.
Yeah, it's my weakness.
Yeah, so
it's got everything you need. It's a perfect like post-ride snack.
It's getting more and more popular, peanut butter as well. You get these massive tubs.
That's what I thought.
£7-8, and it's...
Yeah, a kilo. I buy a kilo of like whole nut stuff. There's nothing but peanuts. It's not dining oil or anything.
There's no palm oil or additives anymore.
No sugar, nothing like. Yeah. Buy a kilo of that. It lasts 2 weeks. I go through it.
Probably important to add though that about the exercise, it's quite high calorie. Yeah, I've just got one more question, Andy. One. If I was going to start cycling now, I wouldn't have a clue what bike to sort of go for, and I'm not, I think I'd struggle to go out and do a long ride, so I'd want something certainly to start with. What sort of bikes would you recommend to start looking at for someone just starting out with the sport?
Yeah, there's so many different types of bikes for different reasons, but hybrid bikes are in the last maybe decade or so, hybrids have come a long way. I've got
What's a hybrid bike? Sorry.
So you got road bikes. Those are your sort of traditional
with the curly handles,
with the drop handlebars, slick tires, thin wheels. That's your road bike. The ones that you see guys in the Tour de France riding, that's a road bike. Mountain bikes, the opposite: big, wide handlebars, chunky tires. Often now with suspension, they'll definitely have suspension on the forks. You can have a hardtail, you can have suspended. They're a lot more expensive. Probably not a great first bike. I would say go in between. So if you're going to be riding on the road, then you can get a road bike, or you can get a hybrid, which is great for commuting. It's basically a much more accessible body position to get into to start with as well. But actually, gravel bikes have come a long way. So I've got 3 bikes. I've got a mountain bike, a road bike, and I've got the in between, which is a gravel bike, it looks like a road bike, slightly more accessible geometry that I was talking about, not quite so like aero, like leaning over, handlebars fire, but it's got drop handlebars. They're just a different shape, so you can get into them more easily. But it's got big fat wheels, chunky tires. It can go off road as well, and you can ride a gravel bike anywhere. Canal tow paths like them. That's what gravel bikes are made for. But ride it on the road, no problem. It's like a road bike. You can ride it. I've ridden mine on like mountain bike trails that, designed for mountain bikes before gravel bikes came along. But it's really, really good fun to ride off road on like challenging mountain bike trails as well. So I'd probably say gravel bike would be the best of all worlds. If you don't know what you're gonna like, get a gravel bike and you can ride it anywhere you want.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. Well, just one more question, Andy. Do you enjoy winding up motorists, mate? Is this? It's quite. No, I'm joking. Me and my wife have this debate a lot. She's, like I said, she's very much into her cycling, and sometimes she gets some cars come a bit close and stuff like that.
Oh, mate, it happens all the time in London. Like every time I go on my bike in town, it's often cab drivers. You get just people, I think, drive. So I'm not going to say there's people on bikes and there's people in cars, because I'm often the person in the car as well. I think being inside a metal box, kind of changes people a little bit. It makes them, they're impersonal. So they tend to behave differently when they're in a car. Like the nicest person in the world outside the car, put them in a car and they change, and they can become aggressive, and you don't know what sort of day people have had either. So I mean, the number of times like people just do something stupid on the road and you think, wow, that either they didn't see me, they didn't want to see me, or they were deliberately driving in a way that's threatening or intimidating to cyclists. You never know, but I always take it with a pinch of salt. It's not worth getting into an argument about.
No. And probably another good reason to go out as a group as well, because from a safety perspective,
safety in numbers, yeah,
for whatever reason, or if something the worst happens, then you got someone to call an ambulance or whatnot.
100%. That is another thing actually. Going out in a group, my dad rides with a cycling group, and unfortunately he hit a pothole, fell off the bike and broke his hip. He's 70 years old, fell off his bike and broke his hip. If he wasn't with a group, I don't know what he would have done. They got an ambulance there for him, and he's in Dorset as well, so he's been like on his own. There is that sort of element of risk to it if you're out on your own in the middle of nowhere. With a group, you're okay. You've got I said safety in numbers.
You do kind of get a risk with every sport, though, don't you? Like, on Monday night in my football, two players collided, and there was a minor head injuries. You can get it everywhere, can't you? Playing in sport, and that's not a reason, in my opinion, to not do something. No doubt the health benefits from playing sport. You'll recover from broken bones and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, you're right. Like skiing's like the most dangerous sport you can do, but people do it. They take their kids skiing. It's
absolutely.
Get out and enjoy yourself. Enjoy. You're more likely to get run over just crossing the road walking than you are to
risk of crashing your car at the end of the day, aren't you?
Yeah. You never know. So you got to take it all with a pinch of salt.
So, Andy, tell us about your business again, mate. And if someone's listening to this episode and they're like, do you know what, I'm going to give cycling a go, and they want a bit of coaching, how would they reach out to you? How would they find you?
So yeah, I'm a personal trainer, and I run Cycle Strength, which is a personal training company. We do online training for cyclists and really focus on those over 40s with a cycling goal that they're looking for, whether it's in 6 months, a year, 2 years, and can make a bespoke training plan for you aiming at a particular goal, building up through. I use a phased approach, so always start the training with my stability phase, which really is using those 6 moves to get you stable first to avoid injuries, and then we work on endurance, then strength, then power. And you can't have power without strength, because power is just strength times acceleration, and you can't have any of that without endurance and stability. So we work through that phased approach, pointing towards the big ride, the big day that you've got in your calendar in the future. So I deliver training programs through an app. You get an app on your phone, and the training plan is in there for you. It can be in a diary, telling you this is what you're going to do today. Obviously, we'd have we'd have call just like this, actually, like a Zoom call, talk through it all, make sure that everything's going to work. So I know what equipment you've got access to, what time you've got to train, when in the day is best for you, and all that sort of thing. Get it absolutely nailed, so it's going to work for you. Like, quite often you can go online, you can find a training plan for a cyclist, no problem, but it's not going to be for you. It's not going to be for anyone in particular. That means it's not actually going to work for anyone. It's got to be, a training plan has got to be written for the individual. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to stick to it. So that's what I do. I work with everyone on an individual basis, bespoke training plan for that person to take them right up to their goal event and beyond. And then, always encouraged to set another one, because the worst thing you can do, train super hard. It's like people who run a marathon or something. Train really hard up to the marathon. You complete the marathon, you go, right, I'm done, sit back, never run in again.
Yeah.
And it goes back, it only takes like 2 months to go back to where you started, having worked for a year to get somewhere, and then you just let it all unravel. I always encourage, come on, what's next? Let's keep training, keep going, keep getting better, keep getting fitter, stronger, keep losing weight.
That's certainly the way I manage my weight loss. When I met with my diet consultant, it was, I want to lose 6 stone, but okay, let's do this in smaller batches, because otherwise you'll lose focus, you'll struggle. So I lost the first 2 stone. Right, now let's focus on the next 2 stone, and just breaking it up a bit. It just makes that more manageable as well. But certainly in terms of like any kind of journey or anything, you need to focus on what's next as well, don't you? There's got
absolutely. It's got to be progressive as well. Like, you can't just change everything. Like, go, right, today's day 1. We're gonna have a new training plan, have a new diet plan. We're gonna change our sleeping habits. All that stuff all on one day to change is like a massive leap. So you've got to bring things in slowly. If it starts with just, okay, let's get to the gym once this week, and let's think a little bit more about, make one swap in your diet. So instead of eating a digestive for your snack, have an apple. Simple. Just swap one thing, and then next week we'll try something else. And then, in 2 months' time, you'll be doing 3 workouts a week. You'll have dropped all the sugary snacks, and you'll be seeing some real changes. And seeing the changes encourages you to make more positive change in yourself. In 6 months' time, you're a different person. You've just got to start really slow and be able to stick to each one as you go. So the whole thing's incremental. It's that whole thing, like, right, let's just change everything. Boom, today, go. That's when people fall off the wagon after a week, because you just can't change that much in your life in one hit.
Excellent.
So where's your website, mate? How do people reach out to you?
So yeah, cyclestrengthpt.com is my website. I'm on Facebook. You can find me at Cycle Strength or Andrew Harding on Facebook, Instagram, Cycle Strength. Just if you do Cycle Strength as one word, it ought to come up.
Yeah. And we'll,
Awesome.
we'll make sure we tag into the description of this podcast for anyone listening, a link to your website as well, so you can click on that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been great, Andy, and thanks for your time. And it's great to sort of explore a different sport. We've been very heavily focused on football thus far, but I've really enjoyed it. And like I said, I've dabbled in cycling before, and might take it up again. So
yeah, get back out there.
Definitely, mate.
Absolutely.
Well, appreciate your time, mate. Thanks a lot, Andy.
Nice one. Thanks, guys. Take care.